So I just asked my dad if he has any like old watches, and then he said, "What do you need?" And then I said, an old watch." And then he said, "What are you gonna do with it?" And I just go, "Wear it." Like, and like my mom was in the room, and she was just like laughing at the whole thing, cause like, what the fuck? Like, what? Cry because it's over. Smile because it's over. That shit was ass. I just got to work. At work a while back, then the guy was telling someone about like a way to do something that was like easier. Something that kind of caught me off guard was like when they said that I was lazy, saying that because I found an easier way to do the same thing. The way that I had to do it was easier, but it was still getting the same thing done. If you want to call finding an easier way of getting the same thing done lazy, I disagree with you. Like, if it was like sacrificing the quality to make it easier, that's kind of one thing, but it was still getting the same thing done. The reason that you want to do it easier is because that takes less time, and what you're doing takes less time, and you have more time to do other things, and you have more time to do other things, then you're able to get more done. If you get more done, then there's less work that other people are required to do. So you kind of want to do things easier so that you can get more done. One of the most important things, in my opinion, is not being able to do the thing. One of the most important things, in my opinion, is consistently trying to find better and easier ways of doing it. Because otherwise, you're just kind of stuck in a loop, which is what I go out of my way to try and do. Someone was calling me lazy one time for it, which, like, on an objective level, I guess they're not technically wrong, but like, it's not because I'm lazy, it's because I want to get more done in a timely manner. Just got a webcam from some random ass thrift store. We're at a beach now. Kind of dope. Kind of reminds me of like when you plug an extension cord into itself. I have really bad Wi-Fi. I can't afford a sound booth. He's just circling me like he's a shark or something. I'm actively being thrown east slightly. So I'm trying to look inside the hole. Been there before. The more I like move around, the more this whole thing shakes. I don't really want to capsize because that is not fun. I haven't been there, and that's not on my bucket list. I don't really want that. I'll use my shoe as a kickstand. You're not getting feet pics, but you're getting pics near my feet. So that's a win-win for you guys, I guess. You fucking sickos. This fell in here. I don't really do seaweed. I'm not scared of spiders or anything, but that spider kind of creeped me out a bit. First time for everything, guys. With the exception of the Spider-Man 2.5 hour review that I made last week, like, haven't really recorded much in quite a while. And that's because I kind of running out of things to talk about that I'm passionate to talk about. Should I take my shirt off? Wearing a plain black shirt in full view of the sun. Not a great plan, you know, not a great plan. You know, canoeing is really fun until you gotta piss. Do you just aim it or something? Like, what do you do? Dude, this shit, I'm gonna just show you. They put that shit for like your feet, but it's very, very uncomfortable. It's not a nice feeling at all. There's just metal brackets like restricting your feet. It's weird. It's kind of sexual, but like in a bad way. Something you've probably noticed is that I crack a lot of jokes. Probably like an actually annoying amount of jokes. Reasoning for that is that I'm like bad at talking to people. The only real like leverage I have in a conversation is like making jokes and stuff. I try to make jokes to compensate for the fact that I am bad at like speaking with people. I can read emotions decently well usually, but like when it's conversations, that part of my brain just like shuts off. Yeah. So like I'm like so focused on trying to not be stupid or like say something dumb that like I'm bad at picking up on social cues, and because of that I'm very stunted in like conversations. I'm always like looking out to like make sure I'm not like interrupting people or cutting off what they're saying. They do end up cutting me off quite a bit, and like I don't get to say what I'm trying to say because I'm waiting for other people to finish saying what they're saying, so I usually don't end up saying what I want to say because I'm trying to accommodate and not be an asshole like cutting people off. But by doing that, I get like no legwork in the conversation, and I'm just sitting there saying nothing for 20 minutes. And like I hate bringing up, I hate being the one to bring stuff up. There's two ways I mean that. One way is like I hate being the one to like call someone out, but like I also hate like being in a conversation and being the one that like is trying to steer a conversation in a certain way, because then it feels like I'm like attention seeking, and like the people I'm talking to don't really care about what I like have to say or anything, kind of just pretending that they have any like care about any of what I'm saying. I really badly want to be able to be like vocal about what I care about and like my interests and stuff. The main thing is that like I don't verbally take enough interest in other people's stuff for them to really take interest in my stuff, because then it seems like I'm only interested in talking about myself. I can't really blame them for thinking that. And I always viewed it as like, I don't know, they're rude because they don't care, but like at the same time I'm doing the same thing, so I have no room to actually be mad about it. I don't really like, my worst fear is that like I wake up at 60 having accomplished nothing and being alone, kind of heading there despite every fiber of my being trying not to have that happen. It's still happening, and I don't know what to do. I really don't. And like that's part of why I make these videos, is because nobody can really tell me that I'm being annoying, because you know I'm only talking about myself, because I'm talking to a camera, not a person. Anytime that I try to like prioritize myself in a conversation, then I feel like an asshole. I am taking time away from things that other people can say, so I feel bad. I was just scrolling Instagram in the middle of the lake in a canoe. I'm a failure, bro. What? Let's not. Let's play tag. You're it. Fuck. Oh, fuck. Why does it keep left leaning? Does this thing like support abortion or something? Fair enough. As you know, as I've like explained, that I have like an MP3 player and I have like around 300 songs on it. I also stated that with that, then it's not like that's every single song I found. I've curated tons of music, even like removed songs from the MP3 player once I no longer like them. Over the course of right around 3 years, I've gotten a playlist on it that's like right around 300 songs. And the way I found those songs was, I did explain one time before, there's this YouTuber called Summoning Salt, and he uses like a lot of like synthwave music. And, you know, I went and like listened through like the entire discography of like a lot of the people who he used music from. You know, in general, just like when you like hear like a really good song in like a YouTube video, then just like I like to go in the description and check like, hey, what was the name of that song in it? And sometimes they put the name of the song, which is really cool. Sometimes the song isn't good, sometimes it isn't. That's why you gotta listen through it to see like if it's, you know, worthy to go on the MP3 player. Because, you know, the MP3 player has like only like limited storage, and like you have to go out of your way to go find the music, so you can't really do every single song you find. So here's what I do. Okay, so whenever I hear a song, then like in a video or something, then I'll go in the description, find the song, search it up on YouTube, and put it into this playlist that I call Tilt. It used to be called TLT, but then one time my brother went up to my computer and was like, why do you have a playlist called Tit? Because, you know, lowercase L looks kind of like an I. So I put an I in there, and so now it's called Tilt. So what I do with this Tilt playlist is anytime I find a song, then I put it in there. And a lot of times when I even like get recommended random songs, and I put the songs in that playlist. And then over the course of like a few weeks to like a month or so, then like there's like a bunch of music gets accumulated in there. Then I can go in there and listen to the songs and find like a couple handfuls of songs that I actually want to like download and keep. They then go into the M playlist. TLT and Tilt stood for to listen to. I abbreviated it to TLT, but it looked like it kind of looked like it said Tit, so I renamed it to Tilt. I find a bunch of random songs, put them in the Tilt playlist, listen through the Tilt playlist, put it in the M playlist, and then I listen through the M playlist several times to like make sure that, you know, I actually like all these songs, and then I download most of them, and they go on the MP3 player, right? That's the main way I find music, you know? Like, I probably have like over 90% of the music that's on my MP3 player is from, you know, the downloading music from YouTube through like, you know, MP3 to like YouTube to MP3 converters and whatnot. Also occasionally then there's like a song where it's like one segment from like a larger piece, or like has like a really annoying intro or outro. So sometimes what I'll do is like I'll download the song and then like go into like editing software and like remove the portion that is not ideal to be there, and then I put that on the MP3 player. YouTube's not the only way I got the music. I also have some music from SoundCloud, but that's only like one or two. And then also there's this online music, like digital music storefront called Bandcamp, where you can like buy and sell like digital music and like CDs and stuff. And on there is the occasional like free album. Like sometimes an artist will just list albums as completely free for one reason or another. And so occasionally I'll just go in there and like sift through some artist stuff and like find the free stuff and download it, and then put it onto this other MP3 player that I have, which is dedicated pretty much exclusively to being like a Tilt type of machine, where like, you know, it's just to listen to music, to sift through it, to find what's actually good. Right now I've gone through and downloaded like full disk space worth of music on it and listened through it. I did that twice, and I have around like 30 or so songs in like a playlist now. Not a playlist, in like a folder on my computer that I will listen to at some point. My plan is to like, once I have enough songs on it to like fill up the MP3 player storage, then I'll put it on there and listen through it, and it'll be magical because, you know, it's been building for months at that point. There's also, I've dogged on Spotify a lot. I really have. But one thing it's really good for is finding new music. Like sometimes when I'm doing dishes at work, playing some music from one of the musicians that I like, and then it'll go on shuffle and like they play some of theirs and also play some music that Spotify believes is similar. And honestly, Spotify's taste in that regard is occasionally pretty good, and I get some bangers. And like once, like when I'm listening through the music, then I'm at work, then I can't really go super far out of my way to like do anything with it. So I usually just like turn my phone on, take a screenshot of the song that's playing, and then turn my phone off. And then usually at the end of like the week or month or whatever, then I go through the pictures and find all those songs on YouTube and add them to Tilt. You know, Spotify is pretty alright for finding music. I have a ton of CDs, and I was wanting to rip all of them. Like, for those of you who are not in the loop, ripping a CD is like basically copying what's on it onto like other hardware or whatever. And so I was wanting like that big old like box of like 200 CDs or so ish, 200-ish CDs. I wanted to rip all of the music off the CDs, off of all those CDs, and like put them on like an MP3 player to listen through. But I think that the disk drive for my computer that I have is like a faulty or something, because it just wouldn't work. Might have been my stupidity, couldn't get it to work. And after a bunch of fiddling with it, then I was able to rip all the songs off of one disc. And it took like a solid 10 minutes to rip all the music from it. And then like it didn't say the names of the songs or like any like identifiable information. It was just called track 1, track 2 all the way through. So I mean, that might be how it is, like how it's supposed to be, but I don't know. I want to rip all the music still, but given how long it took me to just accomplish one, it's gonna take me a minute. Also, occasionally I'll be given like a music suggestion from like my brother or like my coworker or something, and like I'll listen through that either on the spot or put it in a Tilt playlist. And so it's like Spotify and YouTube, and then like I listen through that, and like some of the songs go in Tilt, and then some of the songs from Tilt go into M, and some of the songs from M go into MP3 player. And then we also got Bandcamp and CDs, which then go onto the other MP3 player, which I then listen through, and some of those songs go into a playlist, and some of those songs from the playlist go onto the MP3 player. I got several avenues of listening through music. People will like mention like pronouns and stuff. The certain group of people, I'm not gonna say who, but you know who I'm talking about, will like get mad and like lose their shit and be all like, you know, back in my day we didn't have pronouns or any of that shit, and like, you know, just losing their fucking minds. But like, it makes sense. Pronouns make sense if you actually stop to think about it for more than 3 seconds. Even like disregarding like they, them, and all that stuff aside, like, it makes sense that you'd want to point out how you want to be mentioned, including the they, them stuff. Like, a lot of people will get mad at at them and be like, why don't you go by he, him, or she, sure, or she, or whatever that shit, and like just act like a woman or any of that bullshit, which like you don't need to fit into like this exact mold. That's part of why they're like that. Want to go by they, them, or any of those other ones. Pronouns are a system that pretty much everyone's used for like ever, basically. It's just actually being explained. When people were like referring to dudes or women, they were referring to them like without their names, like by pronouns and stuff. Like that's been a thing forever, basically. You're kind of making a stink out of nothing. For one thing, it makes sense. For another thing, it's been used for a long time, and you're only getting mad at it because gay people are using it. That's it. That's actually the only reason you're getting mad at it, because gay people are like actually verbalizing it instead of just mentioning it. Pronouns make sense. They do make sense if you actually stop and think about them for more than 3 seconds. But a good amount of people who want to be assholes about it don't think about it for more than 3 seconds, and they're just bigoted pieces of shit. You just wanted to hate on something because it's made by gay adjacent people. Like, it's, get a life. At times, then a lot of times, then you'll hear like surfer dudes like saying stuff to the extent of YOLO and like, you know, just shit like that. And sometimes, like, my parents would hear that and be like, YOLO is so stupid. I'm pretty sure their logic was basically like, you know, when you die, you go to heaven. So it doesn't really like you should live your life to the fullest, serving God. It's like, okay, hear me out. Is it bad to like justify doing cool stuff beyond just wanting to do cool stuff, and maybe like, I don't know, having the other intrinsic motivation of you're gonna die soon. You're gonna die. You only live one time on Earth. Like, might as well do all the cool shit you can before you can't. Right? Like, that makes sense. I don't think that they really had any like actual justification behind why they thought that YOLO was stupid. They were just kind of being hateful because it's being negative about things is way easier than it is to like open your mind to the possibility that you're wrong occasionally. I know this because I was a negative asshole up until like maybe a year or two ago. Maybe like 2-3 years ago. I was a negative asshole who didn't really pay any credence whatsoever to any ideas outside of my specific worldview. Even if it might be like a sort of cringe way of saying it, like it's valid. YOLO's valid. YOLO means you only live once, which like, even if you are religious and believe in like the afterlife and stuff, that doesn't really mean you can't live well on Earth. A lot of the people in my family, me included up until a few years ago, are like really bad about like losing stuff and like putting things in places and then forgetting that they put them there, and then either not having them for months or just buying a new one straight up because, you know, they lost the thing, right? And there's this advice that people give on not losing things, where it's basically don't set things in random places and have a designated place for what you have. And I didn't really follow that up until like a few years ago, because, you know, up until a few years ago, I would lose things all the time. Over the years, I've gotten better about it. But then like back in like 2022, I just like altogether stopped losing things. because like I like sorted my like area in my room to like a concerning degree, and I have like a like a biblical knowledge of where everything in my area is. Like if you told me to find like a random item, like from like a list of about 1,000 items, probably I'd be able to find it in like 30 seconds. So, you know, I basically stopped losing things altogether, with the one singular exception being like pens and pencils, because that's, I don't know, that's kind of just typical of everyone. Literally everyone does that. Even people who are like really good at keeping track of things don't keep track of their pens and pencils super well and end up having to find more. What I basically did is like sort my area to like a concerning degree and have a few specific places for certain things that I use on like a day-to-day basis. Don't set things in random places, but also make sure you know where everything is, have everything in like a reasonable place instead of just setting a bunch of shit in a bucket and then being surprised when you don't remember where your like SD card with, I don't know, school projects on it is. Like just have specific places for specific things, and don't set things in random places, and you're basically good. Like it's actually very simple once you actually like have the mental note of, okay, let's not lose things.
How was the hike so far? We can't take you out. Oh my gosh, you're so extra. This is recording?
I am extra.
Oh my word.
Ordinary.
Oh my god.
There's this saying of, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, which basically means it's good enough, you know? It basically just means like it's good. Don't mess with it. It's been made good, so just leave it alone. I'm gonna always try to make things better, even if they seem like they're like as good as they can be. There's so many points where like I've like sorted my area in my room and thought it was like perfect, but then like sorted it further and made it even more perfect and even better. Like I'm definitely not at the peak of my area's sortability, but you know, I'm happy with how it is, but I would still like to make it better, and I will make it better. Kinda my mindset with a lot of things. On this channel, I haven't really been too crazy with editing, but like on my former channel, then I would like go kind of insane with it. Like actually, like a bit more like your average idea of YouTuber. Like what I do usually is like I get like a 20-minute segment and like cut it out into like 5 or so minutes, and like intersperse it with like the occasional like word bubble on screen or like picture that like sort of relates to what I'm saying. But on my other channel, I would do that, but like 8 times more like actual like edits and stuff. I was always trying to make my editing better. I was like always trying to like find ways to like make the edits flow with the video better, and like have the music like, I don't know, like flow with the sequence and shit. Like I was always trying to make the editing better. Where I work, from what I can tell, I could be wrong, but from what I can tell, I'm the only person who really has the mindset of this is slightly annoying, let's make it less annoying. There's like a lot of random things at the job I work at where it's like just needlessly complex for the sake of it, because you know no one's really just in the mood to like spend 15-20 minutes to like make it better. But I have a lot of downtime because I'm the guy who does dishes, and if it's like the last hour or two, then dish is like more difficult than like kitchen. But like throughout the rest of the shift, basically, it's pretty calm, like a lot easier. I have like a lot of downtime, and in that downtime, what I like to do is like sort the dishes and like make like try to make like the flow of your hand movements when you're trying to grab shit make more sense and be easier and stuff. Fix little like annoyances and stuff like that. A lot of times, then my little improvements get undone. You know, just gets set back to how it was, and then a week or so later, I set it back to the better way, and then it gets set back to the way it was, and then that's just a cycle that I kind of just gave up on at one point. Unless I sit down and talk with everyone, it's gonna stay just back and forth. So I just decided I'm just stop trying. This isn't really the same thing, but like it's about the same like procedure going into it. So I'm gonna talk about it. Like with my MP3 player and like my music on it, like I'm always like finding new music and like going through the songs on the MP3 player and finding the occasional dud and removing it. I don't want to have like 10,000 songs on my MP3 player for one thing, because I don't really like having to skip a bunch of random songs just to get to the good stuff. And for another thing, I have very limited storage on my MP3 player, so even if I did, I'd only get at most like 1,000, maybe 2,000 songs at most. Try to keep it to like a very low, reasonable number, like triple digits is what it's been at basically the entire time. The numbers over the years, the numbers have went from right around 80 to like, I think I'm at like 330 right now. So I've been gaining songs faster than I've been removing them. But it reached right around 200 like a year and a half ago. It's just been like very, very slowly but steadily gaining up until about 300. There's this quote by Henry Ford, the guy who made like the car factories, where you can like make cars super quickly. And his quote was, if I would have asked them what they wanted for faster transportation, they would have said faster horses. So that quote kind of goes hard, even though I absolutely butchered it. Think further. Think beyond just the immediate what's better. Think like, how do we like find a way to like improve this beyond people's current understanding of their things, which is kind of a top tier quote, honestly.